So he said he doesn't want to settle because to me that kind of makes him look guilty, I think. And I think he seems to want to prove his good name. But if he were to settle, would you look at that as an admission of guilt, I guess?
No, because I think maybe a novice might, someone that is doesn't know much about the way that these things work. But, I would think that the front office wants this to go away as soon as possible. This is something that could create a perfect storm for the front office. You have the Deshaun Watson situation. Then you have the unresolved Baker Mayfield situation. Well, we don't know what's coming, what unforeseen events could come to splinter the fan base even more. We're already getting a lot of heat. So certainly this is not good press. This is a PR nightmare. And I would think that everyone in the organization would want this to be resolved as quickly as possible. Well, settlements resolve things pretty quickly. So I don't know if he would be, I don't know if I want to use the word encouraged, given an offer he couldn't refuse. I'm making a joke right now, but he may be, in the back rooms where deals are done that no one talks about. That may be an option that he just may decide to take. There's a lot of people that have settled and no. I know some people settle because it becomes a serious monetary issue of it's very expensive to litigate. It's very expensive to pay attorneys to defend you just because you get exhausted, just because you're tired. So I don't necessarily look at a settlement as that way. I think a settlement is done for. There's a lot of reason that people settle. I don't think they just settle because they're liable or anything like that.
Okay.
What about you? May I ask that? What if how are you all thinking about if he settles?
So I've liked the idea that he, throughout this whole situation, has proclaimed his innocence and welcomed investigation, I guess. The thing with like Big Ben was he paid to get it settled before it could ever get to court, I guess. And with this, he welcomed a police investigation. Now he's saying he's not going to settle in civil court. So I was always on the side where I said I didn't want him to settle. But now that the way you explained it, with people settle for other reasons other than they think, okay, I did this, but now I can get away with it, you may have swayed my opinion.
Yeah, that was a good explanation on the settlement situation because I didn't realize that either.
I don't necessarily think that. I think that there's a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of different reasons that someone may settle. It just may be for pure exhaustion. It may be because things change, circumstances change. You never know what's going to go on in the sports world. And so
I guess the selfish Browns fan side of me too is thinking if he doesn't settle and he was to be found not liable in the civil cases, I don't see how the NFL could have any cause to suspend
that's a good one too.
for any games. And so I'm looking at it as like if he fights this to the end and he's found not liable against all 22 cases, he could play every game in his 5-year contract without having to be suspended at all, because I don't see how the NFL could suspend, especially with the burden of proof being so much lower in civil court. If he's found not liable, how could they suspend? It would make no sense. So that's like the selfish Browns fan side of me, wanting him to fight the good fight.
May I say this too? I want to say I have much respect for what you're saying. And I think this is a part of the way that I think that Browns fans are being bashed, because I don't look at what you're saying right now and what the words that you just spoke. I don't look at that as you saying that you necessarily believe Deshaun and Deshaun is right and attacking his women. And I don't look at that as all. Some people would, I think. I think that you're doing what all of us do, and that is we try to think the best of people, and we want the outcome to be the best. And so I think that's the way that the fans feel. They're hoping, because people just want to hope that something like this has not taken place. You don't want these women to have suffered that. So you really just reemphasize my point of Browns fans do not want people to get away with something that they're liable for or guilty of. That's not what we're after. So I appreciate that comment.
Yeah. And one thing I keep going back to as well is, like Blake said, he welcomed a police investigation. There was an FBI investigation. The Browns did their own private investigation into Deshaun Watson. And at the end of all of that, he has the grand jury declined to indict him, and the Browns decided to trade 3 first-round draft picks and pay him $230 million to come in and be our quarterback. To me, that says what their investigations found gave them comfort in doing that, because you don't put that kind of investment into a guy if there's shady, rocky grounds, going on, if you're not sure about what you found.
Yeah, and I would think you would kind of have an idea of the way things were swinging the criminal side, and possibly you may do that because you do want things to be settled.